become real. And the more real it becomes, the more desperate they want it. Capitalism at its finest. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, that greed, for lack of a better word, is good. Greed is right. Greed works. Like Fox, I look at 100 deals a day. I choose one. Relax, pal.
First lesson in business, don't get emotional about stock. Clouds of judgment.
It's all about bucks, kid.
Money never sleeps, pal. Just made 800,000 Hong Kong gold.
Hang on, baby Jesus, this is gonna get bumpy.
Good evening, stock traders, and welcome to Stock Traders Talk Radio here on a beautiful Wednesday night, February 8th, 2012. I am your host, STT. Joining me on tonight's program, I have Hans.
Hey, Mike. How you doing?
I am fantastic, sir. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm doing peachy, buddy.
Peachy. That's a nice word. Wow. Peachy. Okay. Moving on, we also have Stock Sumo.
Yeah, buddy.
What's going on there, Sumo?
What's going on, guys? Hey, gang. Peachy, that's the first time I heard that one before. I like that.
Oh, boy. Okay. Also, joining us on the program tonight, I have Hoss.
What up, buddy?
What are you doing, man? Don't be stealing my thunder during the intro.
I'm just extending my valve like you.
Oh, boy. Okay, everybody's all revved up. I don't know why.
Pumped.
I don't understand it tonight. Something going on. Something in the air, I guess. Maybe because everybody's peachy.
I see something in the water.
Also, on the program tonight is QT Cal.
Oh, that sounds so sweet. Hey, Mike, how are ya? Hi, guys. Hello, STT fans.
How are you?
I'm doing great tonight. Maybe good enough to be peachy?
Peachy. Very nice. Also on our program tonight is Mr. Cup.
What's going on, everybody? How are you?
I am fantastic, sir. How about yourself?
I'm doing great.
Great. That is good to hear. Now, on last night's show, we did, well, it was a pretty exciting interview, I thought. The CEO interview with MindPix, MPIX / I guess we could say EMXC. That interview lasted almost 70 minutes. A lot of information was given out. If you missed last night's show and are interested in either two of those stock tickers, you can listen to the archive version on Investors Hub under videos and then market commentary. You'll find all our previous shows on there. Now, tonight we have a stock spotlight for our listeners. Coming up later in the show, given time, we are going to review Stock Traders Talk Radio picks over the last month. It should take about 5 to 10 minutes just to see where we stand. Now, I'm going to start off the stock spotlight by throwing it over to Cop.
I appreciate it, Mike. I want to kind of put a disclaimer out there so everybody understands what the stock spotlight is. I pick it. That's how it works. And essentially it's a game of DD and analyzing a particular ticker that is normally selected for a lot of variables, most red, high buzz, a lot of dollar volume, and something that potentially where we can make money off of. That's really the essence of it. But the buy and sell calls that we make from it are for tomorrow. But because we're very good at picking stocks, they run forever, it seems like. Some of them do, or continue to run. but the intent of the DD session is for the following day trade. So keep that in mind when you're listening to what we had to say. Let's start with QT. How about if you break down NXOI?
Hey, Cop. Thanks. Okay, so basically a business description. First of all, it's NXOI Interactive Inc., and it's a media-based company focusing on two segments. Basically, those two segments are travel and real estate. And this has been made possible through the acquisitions, the most notable of which is the acquisition of RRTV, which is Resort and Residence TV. Also, the R&R network was launched on November 6, 2009. Roughly is about into 21 million households with DirecTV and Comcast. So basically, you have yourself a media-based company. The other things that it entails is it also includes cable, satellite, broadband, and web distribution. And I think that this is important in regards to where and what direction this company is going to be going in. There's also been some things that have come up in the last few months as far as press releases, which we'll get into later. But basically, it's a model where you have television involved as well as allowing consumers their choice of platforms, which could be TV, web, and mobile. So There you go.
Do you like it?
I like what I see. You know, obviously, just digging into this in the last few hours, I really enjoy getting to understand the business model of a company, and there's a lot of interesting things that surround this company. So I definitely have been digging the last few hours, and I'm excited to kind of unveil some of the things that are surrounding this company in regards to its business plan. So.
Well, I went through a lot of that type of stuff, and I like looking at the CEOs, and see what what they're all about, the management. And did you go into that at all?
Well, basically, I saw that it was Bill Kirby, I believe, is the CEO,
right.
And they're based out of Weston, Florida. They also have some other names involved in the company. One that I found that was particularly interesting was Stephen Conduit, who is the founder of Premier Communications, and that gets into one of the press releases that have come to fruition in the last few months. So I found that to be particularly interesting.
Yeah, the one that caught my eye was Don Monaco, the director. I know that name, so it's kind of one of those things from the company. Who else we got? We got Warren Kettlewell. Adam Friedman, which is the chief financial officer. A lot of experience on the management, as well as they're pretty clear with open to communications and those type of things. I did call the company, and I was very close to talking to Mr. Kirby. And when you call companies, you say, "Hey, I'm getting ready to spotlight your stock. Here's how it normally works." The secretary or the screener answers the phone and says, "Oh, who are you?" And I say who I am. And then as soon as they hear the word stock, they say, "Oh, let me see if they're here," right? Because they're
nice.
called by like 50 people. So then, there's like a 2-minute pause, and they come back and say, "Can I get your name and number?" So automatically, I'm already pissed off because, he didn't call me back. So
right.
We're playing good cop, bad cop here, and you're doing the good cop piece, bad cop piece. So that's pretty much how that works.
Nice.
Yeah. Did you go to otcmarkets.com?
I sure did. I mean, especially when you're doing some DD for the first time. I mean, I really find the otcmarkets.com website to be essential in getting, the specifics of the company. It kind of sets you off in the right direction, or it's kind of like it starts the roadmap for where you're going to go and the stuff that you're going to try to find.
Absolutely, I would agree.
Yeah.
Let me run through some money, right? Because that's what brought us here, right? We follow the money.
Of course.
All right, we had we had huge volume today, right?
Mm-hmm.
What did we end up having today? It was pretty good. It was like 131 million shares traded today, at an average of 0.0032. So you kind of do the math there, And what do you come up with dollar value there? It's pretty awesome. Let me see here. It's only $420,000. Yeah, drop in the bucket in the penny land, right? No.
Amazing.
Yep. Huge amount of money that's actually happening with this. All right, so now you got to ask yourself why. And I kind of, for those of you that listen to the show on a regular basis, you know that I kind of go through money and different things about it. Okay, money is not always what it seems. So what you're looking for is what money really is. And what I mean by that, money really is retail buyers buying and selling. I would say there's probably about, 60 million, somewhere maybe right around 50 to 60 million wrapped up in wash trades on this play today. That's just my take and based off what I normally see and how I see it. And there's many ways to do a wash trade, many ways to do some form of prop-ups. My favorite way is a group of, say, 8 people where they all have their own separate accounts. They're all on either Skype or some crap like that. And one says, I'm buying $2 million. All right, he buys it. Then he sells it to the next guy. He buys it, sells it to the next guy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you figure out at the end, you've created a ton of volume, but you haven't really bought that much. So very, very, very common. And it's it prevents somebody who has 4 or 5 accounts, and we know some of those people, and that they trade and they want to make money. But the point is, there was still a ton of money that rolled into this stock today, which is why we're here. All right, so we're going to go to let's go to what we're seeing on the OTC markets. Fair enough. The average 3-day volume 9.826 million. Let's go with company info. All right, I think you covered that pretty good. Something to note on here. On the company info has investor relations at NXOI.com. Now, why I trigger off of that, because if I remember correctly, the IR for this company back in the September, October, November time frame was quality stocks. You guys remember that play? Anyone? I'm almost positive of that. All right. Which, maybe they brought in their own in-house way of doing business and those type of things. So just like normal, you go through the OTC markets, you see the quote and all that other type of stuff. You can get the charts, right? See what's actually happening there. Then you go to your company info, gives you all that type of stuff. Now, market, and then down on company info, you'll have the security details. And what it tells you is shares outstanding. Now, this is kind of important. 304,965,619. Now, that's as of January 17th, okay? Now, it has the float at 28,058,431, okay, as of June 24th, 2011. I think we all know that that's impossible after what we saw today and a couple other days. Authorized shares, 500 million, as of October 28th, 2011. Now, normally in somebody's DD, they look at this and they go, okay, those numbers are good. And then they'll have a shareholder's record, information to contact somebody and all that other stuff. But we're going to go a little deeper into this this evening, because it's really, really important. This is one of these plays where I am, like I said, we're talking about this stock because we want an opportunity to make money. But you go to the financials, and those of you that say you understand this and you understand DD, if you do not understand financials and do not understand what all the different forms are and how to read them, you're doing yourself a very big disservice, and you're pretty much gambling. It's kind of like this. When you're trading and playing blackjack and you're getting 16 every time and you think that's a good hand, okay? It's not, okay? I'm just telling you, it's not, right?
You got to get it closer to 21, right?
That would be the big goal. Okay, so I have the financials up and I have money. All right, so I want to go back through. I'm going to take you all the way back to October, right? As you guys all know, we use DD and Mandy, and we can figure out anything about a stock that you can possibly imagine. If you can get access to that, hopefully Hans will give it to you, but he's really stingy about that. So But I'm taking you all the way back. Let's go to the 0930 is where I guess I want to be. On the 1006, right, October 6th, right, is a big, big day. $626,000 went into that stock that day. And it was 24 million shares traded, right? Then the following day was another $202,000, and it was another 10 million shares. Now, if you look at the chart and you break it out, this was ridiculous volume that, compared to what it's ever done in the past. And it traded neutral, and it was, average price between 0.015 up to the top drive was 0.036 and then fallback. This thing was so promoted, so pumped, it was unbelievable. And if those of you remember back in time, a lot of the groups that were actually involved in this were, it was all about the client. It surely wasn't about you making money. But, I'm not going to dog them out. Clearly they did their job on behalf of what they were supposed to do for the company, which means jack shit to us. We're in this game to make money, period. That's the only reason we exist when it comes to this conversation. I don't care about the company. No offense there, Mr. Kirby. And I definitely don't care about the promoters. As much as I love the promoters, because they do certain things for me. And what they do for me is they knock stocks so far down with all the dilution that I'm able to find bottoms and then find the recovery to where I can make 100%. That's how I play them. But that's just me. Point being, you got $96,000, $75,000, $67,000, all topping with 4, 3, 2 million, 4 million, 6 million. And then on 1024, you got 15 million for another 300 grand, right? So I'm giving you a cycle, right? It bellies up, a lot of volume, a lot of money. Then you got a week of churn, right? Slides down in price, down to 0.01. Then they do it again. And then, then the whole slides down again. Lots of volume over the course of time. But here's where it gets tricky. Because there's everything's a supply and demand equation, what ends up happening? There's more supply than there is demand. And once the promoters leave, it's like a ghost town. And all that's left is all the bag holders sitting there looking at each other, talking about the dreams and all the great stuff that NXOI is doing and all the beautiful things that they're going to do. They're going to make millions and millions and millions. They're going global and everything else, which I'm sure with the proper business plan and the proper funding that they would love to be able to do that, but that is not the case. So stock drives down 0.0064, 0.0054, 0.004, and just keeps on going. Millions coming out, just millions. And as you guys know, right, it volleys out somewhere around the 29, 26 for a little while, gets a couple pops, right? Now, why are those pops happening? Those pops are happening is because nobody wants to admit they ever made a bad trade. So the bag holders that are sitting there holding this stock, it's at 0.0080, 0.0090 are going, oh, man, I got to average down. And they do. So they throw more money at it. So now what they do is, they probably more shares to get the average even further down, which is, potentially could be a smart thing if you know what the channel is going to be. Bottom line is that's where your volume's coming from. It's not new buyers in most cases. There may be a few that, think it's a bottom each time that you see a little spot on the chart. But that's pretty much, what it is. All right, so, throughout time in the December, January timeframe, on let's go with the January 19th and the 18th, you get another pop, $113,000 and $298,000. But now it's trading at 0.0036 and 0.0028 in that range. But get this, 39 million shares, 71 million shares, 15 million shares, 16 million, 27 million, 13 million, 11 million, right? Clearly, there are more shares in the market. There's no doubt about that. And I'm sure many of you that are actually probably involved in this stock understand that and you know what's happening. But now let's go into what we're doing right now. Today, or over the last 3 days, today, what did we come up with? $420,000, right? Yesterday had $151,000 with a close of 0.0025, right? And that was the 7th. The day before that, trading day was the 6th, had $87,000. 42 million shares traded. So what do we got? Just in the last 5 days, that's 112, 140, 160, 180, 205. Going back a little bit more, right? So you're looking at like 360 million shares have traded, and your float is 28 million. No. Okay? Your OS is 304 million according to January 17, 2012. And according to your iBox, let's see what your iBox says. I love iBoxes, right? And this is what another DD flaw that a lot of people use, where they'll go to the iBox. And, okay, you got at the top, share structure, 304 million. That's up to date. 28 million. The authorized shares, 500 million as of October 10th. Okay, that's all good, right? For what, what is it's match? It's at least matching up. Okay, I'm scrolling down a little bit more. Oh, look at this. Share structure again. All right, yep, that's matching up to the same exact things, different days. All right, so we're taking care of the iBox based off of OTC markets. Now, let's go to the 8K. Love financials. Okay, the 8K, we're going to go with received at OTC markets February 3rd, period ending January 2010. And this 8K, basically what's it saying to me? Oh, on January 30th, 2012, NXOI Interactive, and entities affiliated with Don Monaco, a director of the company, entered in amendments with respect to $250,000, another $250,000, another $300,000, $200,000, aggregate principal amount of secured convertible promissory notes, pursuant to which such notes were amended so that each note is convertible in the shares of the company's Series A 10% cumulative convertible preferred stock. So basically, what he did is let me give you the other. Prior to the amendment, each note was convertible in the shares of the company's common stock based on a conversion price equal to 90% of the average closing price of the common stock during the 10-day trading days prior to conversion, which was at a minimum conversion price of 0.05. Point being, here's what he did. Okay, they didn't want this. They made a decision. I don't want the ability to convert more shares because we're flooding the market. However, I got to give you more control of it. So what I'm going to do on a one-for-one basis, I'm going to flop them over to preferred shares. Nice little technique. Sometimes it works. It just depends on what you're doing. So now he has basically his date of January 30th. All right, there's 4 amendments where it's secured convertible promissory note dated as of, one is the 15th of August, one is the 26th, one is the 4th. Key thing to know. All right, now let's go to the next one, which is the pre-14 Charlie. Pre-14 Charlies are always something to be scared about. I hate them. All right, so let's see what it says. Notice is hereby given the holder of more than a majority of the voting power of the shareholders of the NXOI Interactive Inc. Nevada Corporation have approved the following action without meeting of stockholders in accordance with Section 78.315 of Nevada Revised Statutes. The approval of this amendment to our Articles of Incorporation to increase our authorized shares of common stock from 500 million to 2.5 billion. The action will become effective on the 20th day after the definitive information statement is mailed to our stockholders. Okay. So what does that mean? iBox is wrong. All right, so let's see what they're actually saying about this and how they were able to pull this off. All right, we attained a stockholder consent of approval for amendment to our certificate of incorporation to increase our authorized share, right, from 500 to 2.5. How many shares of voting stock were outstanding on January 31st, 2012? Well, on January 31st, 2012, the date we received the consent of the holders of the majority of the voting power of our shareholders, there were 426,035,310 shares of common stock. See a difference of about, what is that? 100 million of common stock, and 1,809,000 shares of Series A 10% cumulative convertible preferred stock, right? On a basis of 100 votes each. All right. So essentially, the preferred stock rolled over to be able to give more voting power to be able to do this. So essentially, they kind of shuffled shares around within the board to be able to give them voting power to be able to do this action. We obtained the approval of the holders of 1,809,611 outstanding shares Series A preferred stock, and the holders of 124 million shares of common stock, representing an aggregate of 305 million votes out of the total 606 million votes possible, or approximately 50.3%. Not 50.1%, but, they went a little over having half, but they did it. So, you get what's happening here. All right, so needless to say, they voted in all that. That's getting ready to happen, and that cost the shareholders $10,000. Just give you a little heads up of how that all works. All right, so sliding down a little bit more. All right, I'm on the same document. We know that we have 426 million shares of common stock. We know we have 1,800,000 Series A preferred stock convertible into 24,128,000 shares of common stock, 9,236,741 in principal amount of convertible notes, which is convertible into 207 million shares of common stock. You see a trend? Warrants to purchase 75,398,000 shares of common stock at a weighted average exercise price of 0.42. That's nice. So they're bloating up their balance sheet. That's good. Options to purchase 2 million shares of common stock weighted at an average price of 0.0145. All right, so it goes through all of that, right? And it tells you, prevents the takeover and, all that regular stuff. All right, we are done with the 14 Charlie. I'm sure many of that stuff is probably information to you guys that you're like, holy shit, and you're thinking right now that what the hell am I in this stock for, blah, 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 shares going off all over the place. Bottom line, you can still make money, so, don't fret yet. However, there's always the devious 10K or 10Q. Now, got to give Mr. Kirby some credit. Many companies do not do a very good 10Q. Now, when you're putting out shares like this, you better have a good 10Q. And his are pretty damn good. So I got to give him that. So he's definitely not trying to scam anybody. He's giving you the facts, and he's saying, look, this is what I'm doing, and this is how I'm doing it. But he's got to have a viable business plan. Now, here's the thing about businesses. Most fail, okay? And, when it comes to being a CEO, any one of us could be a CEO tomorrow if we decided to. It's just the way it is. So, being a CEO is not as big of a deal as you would think. But, as we grow up, we're stuck thinking, GE CEOs, corporate CEOs, and all this other kind of stuff. Point being, a lot of good stuff there. All right, so where am I here? All right, so now I'm on the 10Q, right? Now, this 10Q was received on January 23rd, 2012, period ending November 30th. Now, remember, all these shares and all kinds of crazy stuff happened back in September, October, and November. Complimentary of your fellow promoters and looking out for you, driving your stock from 3 cents all the way down to 0.0020. So make sure you go back in time. If I was at me personally, I would go back and read every single NXOI post all the way back to October, and you'll learn everything you ever wanted to know about iHub in probably about a day. And it will make you probably sick to your stomach, and most of those people you will never follow again. But that's your choice. You do what you want. I follow them because I know how to make money off of them. All right. So 10Q. The 10Q, and I'm not going to go through every little page of this, but it is huge, right? Gives you the financial statements, management discussion, all that regular stuff. Bottom line, cash as of November 30th was $104,000. Now, back in February when they first filed, the Qs go based off of from the original date all the way for each quarter, 3 months. And so the first original was February 28, 2011. They had $419,000. They went down in cash $104,000. All right, so you go a little further down. Everything seems to be matching up pretty good. Total assets, $3 million. All right, that's easy. Then when you get to the liabilities and stockholder deficit, right, which is assets minus liabilities, that's what you're looking for here, is accounts payable, $2.3 million. Current liabilities, $636,000. Derivative liabilities, $413,000. Series A, $70,000. Convertible promissory notes, net of discount, $1,348,030, in a total of you ready for this? Convertible promissory notes in the total amount of $6,813,711. Wow. Next line, more convertible promissory notes, related party, net of discount, $513,000, $69,000 respectively, another $591,000. Then you have some advances, $68,000, notes payable, $73,000, and then there's shareholder loans of $860,000. Okay, a little further down, notes payable, current portion, another $1 million. So in essence, their total current liabilities is $13,019,000. That is way up there. So assets $3 million, liabilities $13 million. Right? That's a difference of $10 million. You're in the hole. Okay, got that? All right. So we're going to go down a little further, and you go in with your added capital, which is your shareholders deficit, which is all your stock, right? It's your, everything that you got in there. And I'm not going to go into detail with that, but I'm just going to tell you additional paid in capital is $51 million. Okay? So when you add the $10 million difference, basically it's $50 million. Then your accumulated deficit, which is $61 million, right? Total stockholder deficit is $9,996,000, right? So your total liability and stockholder deficit is $3 million. I hope you follow that because that's really, really important to understand. All right, so then we go through and we're going to look at revenues because that's what it is, right? We're hoping to make $13 million in revenues because that's going to cancel everything out. All right, so what do we make in the quarter from last year to this year in November of 2011? Travel and commission revenues, $140,000. Uh-oh. Advertising revenues, $270,000. Uh-oh. So all we made in revenues was $410,000, but yet we went backwards that far? Scary. All right, cost of revenue, $745,000. That's a gross loss of $335,000, right? So operating expenses, general admin, salaries and benefits, and selling and promotions was $2,780,000. Their salaries and benefits was $403,000 for the quarter. What the hell are they doing? I have no idea. So the operating loss, in addition to what else I was telling you, is $3 million. $3,115,000. Okay, then you go through the other expenses, all that other cool stuff. Weighted average number of shares outstanding based on basic and diluted is 128 million. So you're getting the deal, right? You can go through the cash flows and all that other type of stuff. So I'm going to scroll down, and everything's in the fine print when it comes to the 10Q. And basically, you get down to the supplemental disclosure, which is of non-cash investing in financial activity, that type of stuff. And it tells you everything that's kind of happened. So let me just give you some highlights. During the 9 months ending November 30, 2011, the company issued approximately 32 million shares of common stock and 18 million shares, or 18 million in warrants in exchange for services rendered consisting of financing and consulting fees, and incurred in raising capital, valued at $1 million. The value of the common stock issued is based on the fair value of the stock, blah, 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 and all the yields and all that regular stuff. During the 9 months ending November 30, 2011, the company entered a warrant exchanges agreement, hereby canceling 2 million in warrants and issuing another 1,750,000 shares in common stock. More common stock coming at you. During the 9 months ending November 30, 2011, the company converted a series of bridge loans and promissory notes and issued another 69,925,861 shares of common stock and 13 million 3-year warrants to purchase shares of the company common stock. Oh, okay, so they're purchasing shares. So they issue themselves money to basically buy shares. Okay, that must be a Form 4 running around someplace where somebody bought something. We'll have to figure that out. During the 9 months ending November 30th, 2011, company issued 450 million shares of company stock valued at $225,000, issued another 3,600 3-year warrants, 3.6 million 3-year warrants, whole bunch of them all being blown out all over the place. So let's go get to the big one. So there's a whole list of them, and it just goes on and on and on. In every single one of them is somebody converted Okay, now here's the key. During the 9 months ending November 30th, the company issued, 1 million 10-year stock options, issued 435,000 common shares, converted 80,000 shares of preferred into 436,000 common shares. Then you have another, treasury stock, all kinds of stuff. But it's all being done on different stuff. Now, during the 9 month ending November 30th, $1.2 million of $2 million of principal from current convertible promissory notes was assigned to various non-related third-party investors, creating new convertible promissory notes. Additionally, $7,185,526 of old promissory notes were converted into new convertible promissory notes. Huge debt rolling up. Okay, summary of business operations gives you basically what's going on. Tells you about all the cool stuff that that QT kind of just told you about, right? And it talks about the an interactive media and what it does, right? Which is those type of things. The company was initially incorporated as Extraordinary Vacations Group, Inc., the state of Delaware, in 2002. On October 9th, 2008, the company acquired the majority of shares in Maxis Exploration Corporation. So all kinds of cool stuff happening there. They're trying to do business. They definitely are trying to do something, right? All right. So basis of presentation and going concern. Huge thing to read. The unaudited consolidated financial statements, including this report, have been prepared by the company pursuant to the rules and regulations of the Securities and Exchange Commission. Certain information put in the disclosures normally included in financial statements, basically go on and on. However, these consolidated financial statements should be read in conjunction with the consolidated financial statements and notes thereto included in company's annual report that ends on February 28, 2011. So it tells you about how you get your whole Form K, and a lot of these things kind of tie together. They're really not that difficult. But we went through the kind of accounts receivable, so we'll kind of go through that. Goodwill, the whole 9 yards. Okay, so let's go with derivative instruments, right? And this is the summary of the business operations and significant accounting policies, right? It tells you what they're going to use, how they're going to use earnings per share, and those type of things. Convertible A preferred stock is $10,794,000. Warrants to purchase common stock issued and outstanding and exercisable is $75,398,000. Warrants to purchase common stock, outstanding stock options issued and outstanding exercisable, 2 million. Shares on convertible promissory notes, 207 million shares, right, as of November 30th. So you're seeing exactly what's happening here. All right. Now there's a whole barter thing, travel, all that regular type of stuff. And you kind of roll down with this, advertising, cost of revenues, the whole 9 yards of what they're doing. Now, I'm a big fan in notes. I think notes are what tell you everything you ever wanted to know. And, I don't know Mr. Kirby from Adam, right? And I wish him all the luck, and he may be the nicest guy in the world. However, he's been running this company into the ground like shit. And that's just a fact. Right? Once you let the promoters in and once you let the debt in, means your business plan is flawed. Okay, you have overextended yourself. You are Napoleon at the Battle of Waterloo. Okay, and you're getting ready to get your ass whooped. So stop. All right, do something different. All right, so we're going to kind of go down a little bit more. Income taxes, fair value. All right, now. Let's go back. Now we're going to go with recent accounting pronouncements, right? It just tells you all the different rules, changes. Now, note 2, going concern. Now, as reflected in the accompanying consolidated financial statements, the company had an accumulated deficit of $61 million and a working capital deficit of $12,454,000 as of November 30, 2011. Net losses for the 9 months ending November 30th, 2011 was $8 million, and cash used in operations during the 9 months ended November 30th, 2011 of $4 million. While the company is attempting to increase sales, the growth has yet to achieve significant levels to fully support its daily operations. Management plans with regard to going concern as follows. The company will continue to raise funds through private placements with third party by way of public or private offering, in addition the board of directors has agreed to make available, to the extent possible, the necessary capital required to allow management to aggressively expand the NIN TV linear network, as well as the planned interactive and video on-demand solution. Management and board members are working aggressively to increase the viewership on our network by promoting it across other mediums as well as the networks, which will increase value to advertisers and result in higher advertising rates and revenues. That's the whole point of being in business, revenues. While the company believes in the viability of its strategy to improve sales volume and its ability to raise additional funds, there can be no assurance to that effect. The company's limited financial resources had prevented the company from aggressively advertising its products and services to achieve consumer recognition. The ability of the company to continue as a going concern is dependent on the company's ability to further implement its business plan and generate greater revenues. The consolidated financial statements do not include any adjustments that might be necessary if the company is unable to continue as a going concern. Management believes that the actions presently being taken to further implement its business plan and generate additional revenues provide the opportunity for the company to continue as a going concern. So then it goes into property, equipment, all that other stuff. The option purchase agreement, right? Then you go to Note 6, accounts payable, accrued balances. Then you go to Note 7, which is notes payable, right? And it's just loaded, and I'm not going to run through all of those. Note 8, capital lease payable, loaded. 9 is other notes payable. Okay, other notes payable. There's just tons of them. Notes payable, 100,000, 200,000, 300,000. Related party. During the 9 months ending, the company converted 168,000 of bridge loans. Right, more conversions. Note 11, shareholder loans. During the 9 months ended 30 November, the company received cash advances amounting to $1 million from shareholders, while incurring transaction fees totaling $11,000. In addition, 4.5 million shares in common stock and 6.8 million warrants were issued, as $637,000 of shareholder loans were converted into equity instruments, right? And it's just, these are just rattling off like you wouldn't believe. All right, so now you have non-related parties, right? It will give you a date, it will give you the note number and the principal value, and then what it is on as far as the carryover and whatever interest rate it is. There's 30 of them right here on non-related. Then you go down, I'm sorry, I'm going to the second page. There are 58 of them, right? Then I go down to the next page where it says related party, you have more, right? And these are like $275,000, $236,000, $135,000. I'm talking huge, huge numbers. Okay, table 1, which gives you the convertible promissory notes, which is, and this is where you got to understand what's happening here. Somebody's buying shares at a discount, or they're loaning the company money at an interest rate, and if they're not able to pay that back in cash, they're paid in shares, right? That's how it works. Okay, so it tells you on January 11, 2011, February, all these over and over and over again, it just goes. But the ones, most of them are probably already converted, so let's kind of go to August. I'm on number 30, by the way. Or let's go to October. On October 14, 2011, the company received $83,000 in proceeds and issued a convertible promissory note. On September 27, 2011, the note holder assigned $275,000 to its principal, and the company issued a new convertible promissory note. On October 7, 2011, the note holder converted $30,000 of the principal into $3.7 million. Right? It just goes on and on and on about all these different conversions of common stock all over the place. It's absolutely insane. All right, so then there's a whole bunch of stuff where the company received money from a board of directors and issued a convertible promissory note. There's probably about 6 of these, which is kind of interesting, right? All that money is just coming in from someplace. Then you keep going down, reference table 2. It just keeps on going with different convertible promissory notes, pages and pages and pages of it. I'm not going to read them all to you because you're going to freak out when you actually see it if you haven't already seen it. Let me go. I'll just pick one. Number 30. Upon any conversion of this note from September 26, 2011 till maturity date, the conversion price will be equal to the VCP, 50%, blah, blah, blah. Right? Now, I like note 17s, right? You guys know. Let me see here. Note 13 is stockholder deficit, right? Company has authorized shares after shares after shares. Let's go down here. All right, note 14 is commitments and contingencies. Note 15 is segment reporting, right? Tells you where the money's going. and on travel, media, segment expenses, all of that. Then it gives you the fair, on note 16 is your fair value measurements, right? All right, note 17 is subsequent events. Very, very important to understand this. And it will tell you certain things that are happening or why you're seeing what you're seeing. Okay, on January 6, 2012, the company issued 13 million shares of its common stock in accordance with the Anti-Dilution Rights Provision amended and restated conversion agreement from June 30th. So what's happening is all these old conversions that we're talking about are coming to have to be paid, right? So on December 12th, 2011, the company converted a shareholder loan of $100,000 made on November 30th, 2010, shares after shares. On December 6th, 2011, the company signed a 6% secured convertible. On January 4th, 2012, the company received $100,000 and entered in another convertible promissory note. On January 9th, the company received $250,000 and entered into a 12% convertible note. On January 4th, 2012, a current note holder assigned $100,000 of its outstanding principal balance plus money into legal fees and all kinds of other stuff, right? Meaning they're making them survive within. All right, so we go down a little bit further. Okay, overview. Now, the overview is kind of important, right, where it's telling you, okay, what are we doing? Let's see. Okay. All right, basically what it's saying, the NXOI Interactive is a media-based company focusing on two segments, travel and real estate, right? Then it says the network plans to expand its number of households and deploy both interactive and video and go through whatever. The company targeted focus is TV network and travel, right? And then you go through the results of operations, cost of revenue. The cost of revenues decreased 71% to $745,000 in 3 months, okay? Other operating expenses are up to $533,000, okay? That's very important. Then you have your net loss and your other expenses and your revenues. Our total revenues decreased 43% to $1 million for 9 months, ending November 30th, compared to the almost $2 million for the 9 months prior, a decrease of $821,000. In addition to the general decrease in travel-related revenue due to less marketing and sales efforts, the decrease in television advertising is due to reduced programming and significant less distribution of the NIN television network due to cost constraints. Revenues from the travel segment decreased 18% to almost $689,000 for 9 months, compared to the $839,000 for the 9 months prior. Travel revenues generated from its luxury tour operation, which provides escort and independent tour worldwide upscale travelers. Revenues from the advertising decreased by 62%, right? So everything is decreasing. Now, the cost of revenues are actually decreasing as well because now they're not spending money to make money. So, in essence, they've readjusted their entire business plan to only focus on particular areas. So their liquidity and capital resources are extremely limited. So the only thing they have to do to be able to survive is issue shares. Now, okay, that's a lot of stuff. And you can read this stuff for hours and hours and hours, and it may sound like doom and gloom, but it's not, because here's why. Our man, Mr., let's go with, on that 14 Charlie, right, Mr. Monaco, a lot of these shares are getting ready to be popped back into the market where his fair value, well, he actually converted his, but there's some that the value-wise, they need to be higher. They need the price of the stock to be higher where it doesn't make sense for them to sell, or they're going to have to issue even more shares. Hence why they've done the situation to where they've backed themselves up by raising the AS. Bottom line is, you play this stock for the pop, and then you get the hell out of it, period. Now, that's all I got.
You sure that's all you got?
That's it, huh?
That's it.
You can't handle the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
Holy cow, man. Hands down.
That was great.
Bow down, Cop. You crushed it as always.
I was wondering how deep you were going to go into those financials, because after we decided it was the spotlight, I took one look at the financials. I saw those convertibles and them raising much money and stuff, and I was like, oh, he's going to rip this apart.
I mean look, you guys know why we exist. We exist to tell the truth to it, and in a lot of cases, there's a lot of people out there that believe in this company, right? Vigo's out there working his ass off, posting some of the best DD I've ever seen. However, it's the flowery DD that the company wants them to have. It's the carrot. It's the stuff that says these are the PRs and all that other stuff. And like I said, Mr. Kirby may be a great guy. I don't know. I don't know him from Jack or Adam. I just know that his debt level, based off his business model and his strategic objectives of his plan, suck ass. So stop.
Yeah. Well, a key thing for any investor, especially in the penny market, to keep in mind is a great product, a great story doesn't necessarily mean a great stock, especially when they're doing some of the things with the financials and raising money that this company's been doing over the past year.
Right.
Well, another key thing for investors to know is to look deep in the financials and look at the filings. QT Cal and COP did a great job at explaining everything first. When you want to look at these companies, you want to dig deep. And COP, you couldn't have done a better job at digging deep and breaking it all down.
Yeah, those financials, as far as what you went through, COP, that was very, very informative. If you look at the Surface DD and you see, I know you're giving props to the guys on iHub, and they've done a great job. There's a lot of aspects to their business plan that they just released a few things on press releases and some of the deals that they have going on. But, when you dig deep into the financials, you have to see if it matches up or if there's, a chance or an opportunity to make money, which is what we're about.
And exactly. And, you guys got to understand the approach I come from. In the OTC, there's not a lot of money out there anymore, okay? I dwell in the OTC because I want to make money off of trading, but I don't want to make it off of some bullshit where I'm going to sit there and tell somebody, hey, this is going to the moon, blah, 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 and then leave them bag holding because that money is gone now and it will never come back to the OTC. So what keeps happening is they keep running some of this shit up so damn high, the people that are paid to promote it, the people that are pushing it, and all this other stupid shit. And I'm okay with you making money, but have a freaking conscience to some degree. You see that this company is completely doing what they're doing. And, oh, by the way, the Form 4, right, on both occasions, the company bought shares at the very low and must have sold that crap at the top. So the only way that company can survive is by selling shares. That's the bottom line. Now, if you want to be that person that is, going to help them, call them up and say, look, here's $100,000. Let me just give it to you. Let's just stop the bullshit. We won't even have to deal with me watching iHub all day long.
Let's just call it how it is. I'm ready to break down the chart. You did a great job. You did a great job at digging deep. The bottom line is, if there's a lot of convertibles out and they're converting shares, these guys that are buying these notes, they're getting the shares at a tremendous discount to the market. And, it is what it is. So let's look at the chart. In the past, I've always liked to resort to stockcharts.com. They're calling the resistance on this at 0045. That's the next key resistance to break. If it can get over that hump, then there could be some legs. Let's look at it deeper. There's been 3 long days of big accumulation today with some huge volume. If it can't continue that trend, if it doesn't trade today's volume or higher, I don't see this thing going up any further. So tomorrow I'm going to call it a gap and trap, and I'm going to take a little note from Siffy's book because Siffy actually said that to me earlier. He called it a gap and trap, and I agree with him there. Unless this thing could trade higher than today's volume, I don't see it going up further. I think it could gap up in the morning, and then it's going to come down. So I'm going to call it a sell. Okay.
Fantastic stuff, guys. Let's move on to buy, sell, or hold of NXOI as we're running out of time on the show. So let's start with Sumo. You just did the chart. Tell us what you're thinking about tomorrow.
Yeah, I kind of just led right into it there. I'm going to call it a sell.
Going with a sell, huh? Okay, Hans, what's your take on this?
everything the cop said, and it all looks bad. But you know what? I'm going to take a contrary view on this. I'm going to make it a buy.
Going to go buy. Okay. All right. Siffy, if you're out there, you want to type in what you think, type it in there. I'll add you to the show. QT. Oh, wait. I got a response from Siffy. Thumbs down, and I'll put that as a sell, as usual for Siffy. QT, what are you thinking about for tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow I would have to say sell, but there's a lot of other things going on that they've announced in the last few months that may turn it to a buy. But for tomorrow, I would have to say sell.
Okay, Haas, what's your take?
I'm gonna say we're gonna have a little pullback tomorrow. Just looking at some of the end of day level 2 action going on here for the last hour or so. The buying volume kind of slowed down. There were a couple big whacks. Looked like some people wanted out. So with no news, I think we'll see a slight sell-off tomorrow.
With no news, we'll see a sell. Okay. Cop.
This is an easy one, guys. Absolutely simple.
Buy.
It's a buy.
Of course.
Yeah, I knew you can call that.
Of course it is.
Definitely a buy.
There's no doubt.
You gotta. I mean, the whole idea is follow the money, right?
Yep.
They're trapping the shares that are down at the low. The CEO's buying the shares. They can't sell down here. They can't survive if they sell them down here. So what do they have to do? They have to push it up. And quite frankly, if they dilute tomorrow after anybody telling them about this radio show, then they really need to stop being in business. Because the bottom line is you got to be able to support the stock yourself. You want the shareholders to help you, help them, right? It's a buy tomorrow.
It's a buy tomorrow. Okay. Now, I did not tell the other host this, but I am going to go with a buy tomorrow. And the reason I'm going with a buy is because I'm not going to post this video. That's the reason. I will post the video. If anybody missed any portion of tonight's show, Mr. Kopp went on about a 49-minute DD session about NXOI. If you missed any portion and would like to hear it in its entirety, or just re-listen to it and catch up on some of those big numbers he was throwing around, we will have it posted on Investors Hub under videos and then under market commentary. Again, you could see all our shows in that section. Tomorrow night's show, we have a CEO interview coming on. Should be very interesting. Seems like word got out a little early on us, but I'm going to leave it at that. If you want to find out who it is, it's posted on our board. And we will be back tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't forget, our schedule is Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so for tonight, just to wrap this up, we have 3 buys, 1, 2, 3, and 4 sells. So right in the middle there. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. We did not get to our portion where we were going to look back at all our stock spotlights for the last month. Maybe tomorrow. If not, we'll try and get to it Sunday. Again, Sunday we do have another CEO interview coming up, and we're looking at booking 2 and possibly 3 next week, Monday through Thursday. So we will try and keep you updated as much as possible. We hope you enjoyed tonight's show. We hope you heard what you needed to hear. I know you heard a lot. From all of us here on the show, to all of you out there in Listenerville, we wish you the best in all your trades, and may your portfolio be green. This is STT Radio, and we are out.
Thank you for listening to Stock Traders Talk Radio. All views and topics talked about on Stock Traders Talk Radio is solely for entertainment purposes. We are not professional financial advisors and always recommend you seek the advice of a professional financial advisor. Never invest in any stock featured on our show unless you can afford to lose your entire investment. The information contained on our show is based on sources which we believe to be reliable, but is not guaranteed by us as being accurate, and might not be a complete statement or summary of the available data. Stock Traders Talk Radio advises that the investments in companies profiled are commonly considered to be high risk and use of the information provided is at the investor's sole risk. Thank you for listening to Stock Traders Talk Radio.